All right. Cheers, everyone. Welcome to another deep dive.
Yeah?
Today we're heading south of the equator
Ooh, okay.
to Brazil to explore a winery
Interesting.
that's making some really fascinating wines in the Serra Gaúcha region.
Okay.
Have you heard of Serra Gaúcha?
I have heard of Serra Gaúcha, yes. It's,
They make a lot of wine down there.
they do?
The winery is called Valparaiso Vinhos e Vinhedos,
Okay.
and they focus on natural winemaking practices.
Very cool.
So we've got a few sources to help us kind of dig into what they're doing down there.
Right.
We have their website,
Okay.
a Brazilian wine guide,
Nice.
and then a blog post from a wine enthusiast who seems to really know their stuff about this winery.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to dig in here.
Yeah, me too.
One of the things that really stood out to me was
Yeah.
this idea of sistema protegido, which they talk about on their website.
Okay.
So I was hoping maybe you could shed some light on what exactly that is. Because it sounds like they're doing some pretty interesting things to protect their grapes.
Yeah, so Sistema Protegido, this is really cool. It's basically a system where they use tarps to shield their grapes from humidity
Oh, wow.
and pests,
Interesting.
which really cuts down on the need for fungicides.
So it's like a little greenhouse almost.
Kinda, yeah. But a little protective barrier.
A protective barrier. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's really...
And this is particularly unique for Vitis vinifera grapes in Brazil.
Okay.
You don't really see that very often.
That's interesting. And they grow a lot of different Vitis vinifera grapes
They do. They have a wide variety.
on their property.
Yeah.
I was looking at the list on their website.
Here
They've
you-
got Nebbiolo, Pinot Noir, Sangiovese.
Wow. A lot of Italian varieties.
Yeah, a lot of Italian varieties.
Yeah.
Pinot Grigio, Rondinella, Garganega, Torrontés,
That's cool.
Moscato Alexandria, Chardonnay.
Wow.
I mean, they're really running the gamut here
Yeah, they really are.
of grapes.
Yeah. And that's something that's pretty common in Serra Gaúcha.
Oh, okay.
You see a lot of wineries experimenting with those Italian varieties.
Interesting.
But what sets Valparaiso apart is their commitment to those harder to grow grapes,
Mm-hmm.
like Nebbiolo and Sangiovese.
Okay.
They're really pushing the boundaries of what's possible in Brazilian winemaking.
So they're not just dabbling.
Exactly.
They're going all in
They're all in.
on these Italian varieties.
They are.
That's really cool.
It is.
And they're also going all in, it seems, on natural winemaking.
Absolutely.
The blog post that we have really emphasizes
Yeah.
their minimal intervention approach.
Yeah. They use wild yeast for fermentation. They avoid filtration
Okay.
and any enological corrections.
Enological corrections. Now, what is that?
So basically, that's a fancy way of saying any adjustments made to the wine during the winemaking process, like adding sugar, acid, or tannins to kind of manipulate the final flavor profile,
Gotcha.
which they don't do.
They don't do that at all.
Nope. And they also don't age their wines in barrels.
So they're letting the grapes speak for themselves,
Yeah.
really letting that terroir and that pure expression of the fruit come through.
That's the idea, and I think that's what makes their wine so intriguing.
Yeah.
They're not trying to mimic wines from other regions.
Right.
They're embracing their unique Brazilian identity.
That's really cool. And, speaking of unique,
Yeah.
the blog post describes their wines as having a distinct personality. So I'm really curious to dive into some of the tasting notes now
Let's do it.
and see what kind of personalities we uncover.
Absolutely.
Where should we start?
Well, the one that really caught my eye was the Vitale Moscatel,
Oh, yeah.
sparkling wine made with Moscatel and Torrontés.
Interesting. Now, Torrontés we usually associate with
Argentina.
Argentina, right?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
it is.
And get this, they use such ripe grapes that they don't need to add any sugar. The blog post says it's like a tropical honey party in your mouth.
That sounds delicious.
It does, and it's going to be part of a new line called Matural,
Interesting.
which will be focused on wines made with very ripe grapes.
So they're really experimenting.
They are. They're not afraid to push the boundaries
That's fantastic.
and do things differently.
Yeah.
So we've got naturally sweet, sparkling deliciousness.
Okay, I'm in.
What else have we got?
Well, there's also the Vitale Torrontés.
Okay, another Toronto.
Yeah, but this one's an orange wine.
Oh, cool.
The blog describes it as having savory unctuousness
Ooh.
and good gastronomic potential.
Now, for listeners who might be like, wait, what's orange wine?
Right.
Can you give us a quick rundown?
Sure. So orange wine is basically a white wine made with extended skin contact.
Okay.
So it takes on some of the characteristics of a red wine.
Gotcha.
So you get a little more tannic structure,
Hmm.
a richer, more complex flavor profile.
I can definitely see that pairing well with like some bolder flavors, maybe something spicy or
Absolutely.
earthy to match that savory unctuousness.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got sparkling, we've got orange.
We do.
What else?
Now, this next one might surprise you.
Okay.
It's the Vitali Isabel Rosé,
Okay.
made with the American grape Isabel.
Interesting.
Now, Isabel has a bit of a controversial history in Brazilian winemaking.
Hmm.
It was often used to make simpler, sweeter wines,
Yeah.
not exactly known for complexity.
Okay.
But this rosé is different.
Oh.
It's described as being dry, high acid,
Okay.
and surprisingly complex.
Really?
And get this, it's even featured on the wine list at DOM,
Wow.
one of Brazil's most renowned restaurants.
Okay, that says a lot.
It does.
Quality.
Yeah, the really challenging perceptions.
Yeah.
Showing that Isabel can be so much more than just a simple table wine.
Wow. I love that they're showcasing these
Yeah.
kind of underdogs of the grape world.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It is.
All right, so we've got a sparkling, an orange wine, a rosé.
Yes.
What else is on the list?
We have 2 Italian reds,
Okay, let's hear it.
the Vitali Sangiovese
Nice.
and the Vitali Nebbiolo,
Oh, wow. Okay.
both made in the claret style.
Now, for listeners who might not be familiar with that term,
Right.
what is claret style?
So claret style is a traditional method of winemaking
Okay.
that really focuses on gentle extraction and minimal intervention. So it's letting the pure fruit flavors really shine through.
So old school technique on very Italian grapes.
Exactly.
I'm intrigued.
The Sangiovese is described as having kind of earthy notes,
Okay.
alongside bright fruit, lively acidity, well-rounded tannins,
So a classic Sangiovese.
but with a Brazilian twist.
Right.
And then the Nebbiolo. This is the one I'm really curious about.
Me too, because Nebbiolo is
Such a finicky grape.
so complex. Yeah.
How are they pulling this off in Brazil?
Yeah.
Well, they're getting those typical Nebbiolo smoky notes, but they're also getting some ripe strawberry aromas.
Interesting.
They describe it as delicate,
Okay.
yet persistent, good acidity,
Hmm.
and a clean finish.
I am blown away
I know.
by all this.
Yeah.
Like the diversity, the innovation.
Yeah.
It's really incredible what they're doing down there.
It is.
It's like they're taking the best
Yeah.
of Italian and Brazilian winemaking and
Yeah.
blending them into something
True.
really exciting and new.
It's really compelling.
Yeah, it is.
They're not just following trends, they're forging their own path.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
It is.
They really are. It's like they've bottled that pioneering spirit.
Yeah.
You know, here they are on this property that
Mhm.
was once the biggest grape plantation in Brazil.
Wow.
And now they're creating these really unique and expressive wines that
Yeah.
are, turning heads on the fine dining scene.
I know, it's
It's
amazing.
a really amazing evolution.
Yeah, and it speaks to the passion and the vision of the people behind it all.
Absolutely.
You mentioned the owner, Arnaldo.
Yeah.
His family has Italian roots,
Right.
and you can really see how that heritage shines through in their approach to winemaking.
It's like they've taken that old world dedication to craft
Yeah,
and infused it with a distinctly Brazilian flair.
absolutely.
I'm also just really impressed by their commitment to
Yeah,
natural winemaking.
me too.
It's not just a trend for them. It feels very deeply ingrained
Yeah,
in their philosophy.
absolutely. And it's not just about what's in the bottle.
Right.
Both the winery's website and the Brazilian Wine Guide mention that they offer tours and tastings.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine
That sounds amazing.
walking through those vineyards,
Yeah.
breathing in the fresh air,
Mhm.
and then getting to taste these incredible wines right where they're made?
Okay, you're speaking my language now.
Exactly right.
That sounds like a dream.
It does.
You know, when you visit a winery and you
Yes.
meet the people who are like pouring their heart and soul
Mhm.
into the land and the wine, it just adds another
Yeah.
layer of appreciation,
Absolutely.
You can taste the passion
Yeah.
in every sip.
It seems like they really want to share that experience with people.
Yeah.
The guide even mentioned that the tours are often led by the owners themselves.
Wow.
Talk about a personal touch.
That's really special.
It is.
It's like they're inviting you into their home, their story,
Mhm.
their passion. It's not just a transaction.
Right.
It's a connection.
It is.
I love that.
Yeah. It's a reminder that wine is more than just a beverage.
Yeah.
It's a reflection of a place, a culture,
Mhm.
the people who make it.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We talked about their innovative approach to grape growing, their dedication to natural winemaking,
Yeah.
the unique personalities of their wines, and now this amazing opportunity to actually experience it all firsthand. But what does this all mean for our listener?
Right.
Why should they care
Yeah.
about this winery,
Yeah, good question.
tucked away in the Brazilian countryside?
I think there are a few key takeaways here.
Okay.
First, Valparaiso challenges our preconceived notions about what Brazilian wine can be.
Right.
They're pushing boundaries,
Yeah.
experimenting with unconventional grape varieties, and creating wines that are truly world-class.
Yeah. It's a reminder that great wine can come from unexpected places.
Yeah.
We tend to get stuck in our wine rut, you know?
We do.
We think, oh, if I want a great Nebbiolo, I need to go to Italy.
Right.
But Valparaiso is proving that there's a whole world of incredible wines out there,
Yeah.
just waiting to be discovered.
And second, their commitment to natural winemaking is something to be admired.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that we can enjoy delicious wines
Yeah.
while also respecting the environment and embracing sustainable practices.
It's about appreciating the integrity of the process from the vineyard to the bottle. And let's not forget the human element here.
Right.
You know, this is a family-owned winery with a rich history,
Yeah.
a deep connection to their land,
Yeah.
and a passion for what they do.
Absolutely.
And that comes through in everything they create.
And that passion is contagious.
It is.
I don't know about you, but
Yeah.
I'm feeling inspired to seek out some Valparaiso wines
Me too.
and experience this for myself.
Oh, absolutely. I'm already planning my trip to Serra Gaúcha.
Okay, let's go.
But before we get carried away
Yeah.
with our Brazilian wine adventures,
Right.
I want to leave our listener with a final thought.
Okay.
You know, we've seen how Valparaiso is challenging norms
Yeah.
and creating something truly special. It makes you wonder
Yeah.
what other hidden gems are out there
Ooh,
in the world of wine.
that's a great question.
What unconventional wine regions or producers
Sure.
are pushing boundaries and crafting wines
Yeah.
that defy expectations? What unique stories and flavors are waiting to be discovered
Right.
if we just open our minds and our palates to
Thanks.
new possibilities? Yeah, it really does feel like there's so much to discover out there.
Yeah.
But okay, I want to get practical for a second.
Sure.
How do people actually find these Valparaiso wines?
Right.
Are we talking like rare, limited production bottles, you know?
The Brazilian Wine Guide mentions that Valparaiso is part of a wine route
Okay.
called Roteiro Turístico entre Raízes,
Okay.
which connects various wineries in the region.
Interesting.
So their wines are probably available at shops and restaurants
Gotcha.
along that route.
So if you happen to be road tripping through the Brazilian countryside,
Exactly.
you might stumble upon some Valparaiso wines.
You might.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But for those of us who can't just hop on a plane to
Right.
Brazil tomorrow,
Yeah.
are there other ways to track these wines down?
Definitely.
Okay.
Their website have all their contact info, so you can reach out to them directly
Gotcha.
to ask about purchasing options.
Nice.
They even mention having an online store.
Oh, wow. So you could be sipping on Brazilian Nebbiolo
know.
from the comfort of your own couch.
Yeah,
That's the beauty of the internet, right?
it is.
But I gotta say, there's something romantic about like going there,
Absolutely.
visiting the winery,
Yeah.
meeting the people.
It's a whole experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they really seem to welcome visitors
Yeah.
with open arms.
It's cool that they're not about being exclusive. They're really about connecting with people.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
You know, it just really emphasizes that wine is more than
Yeah.
just a drink. It's a journey,
Biz.
an experience,
Yeah.
a way to connect with a place.
And it's people.
Yeah,
And sometimes the most rewarding journeys take us off the beaten path.
absolutely.
You know who knew that we'd be uncovering such a gem in Brazil?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to our listeners out there,
Mm-hmm.
we encourage you to embrace that spirit of discovery.
Yes.
Step outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Explore those unconventional wine regions.
Mm-hmm.
Seek out those hidden gems.
Exactly.
You never know what amazing flavors and stories
That's
you
right.
might find.
Who knows? Maybe you'll even be inspired to book that flight to Brazil
Yes.
and experience the magic of Valparaiso for yourself.
I'm ready when you are.
Let's do it.
All right, everyone. Until next time, keep diving deep
Yeah.
and keep those glasses full.
Cheers.
Cheers.